She was in the middle of saying something and then it just went like silent. I kept calling her back and I got no answer. It was just like not normal. She would never ever not answer. Hi Scene TV, this is our story. Alexa and I were together for 2 years. We met at a party in Boulder. She like kept talking to me and I was like, I kind of liked you. It was like the second that we met each other, we just clicked and like nothing changed after that. She was like the nicest person ever. She always wanted to take care of everybody. She had such a light and such a presence that like everyone just wanted to be around her. She was literally like a little ball of sunshine and everyone just like wanted to be around the sun. I worked at a pizza place. They kept me late that night. We were talking on the phone while I was at work. She was in the middle of saying something and then it just went like silent. I kept calling her back and I got no answer. She would never ever not answer. It was just like not normal. I started to freak out at work. I went to my manager and I was like, I have to go. Like, I don't care. Like, you can fire me. Like, I'm leaving. I looked at her location and it was on a street called Indiana. I just kept driving and then I called her mom and I was like, have you heard from her? And she was like, no. And she tried calling her and got no answer. And her mom was like, just keep going to her. And I was driving down the road and it said I was with her and I looked, her car was in the middle of like that field on Indiana. I started like screaming and freaking out. I just remember like screaming at the 911 operators, where is everybody? Like, why isn't there anyone here? I still like didn't like process like what was going on. I was thinking that I have to tell my mom to bring like a pillow and a blanket so that I could sleep at the hospital. I don't know if my brain was trying to protect me. I have no idea. The cop took me to his car and I sat in the back of his car. And I remember like shaking. I was really bad and shaking and I was like this. Like I was like frothing back and forth. And then the cop like told me. I went into shock.
A crime spree last week killed a 20-year-old when someone threw a rock at her while she was driving.
So it was 3 teenagers that did it. 3 guys that were out that night and they hit multiple cars. They went to a Walmart and loaded up a bunch of landscaping rocks in their car and were just going around throwing them at cars. They thought it was some fun activity. I don't see how that's fun. And that was their last rock that they threw. When they saw that it was fatal, they went and turned around, snapped a picture, and laughed and left. And didn't do anything, didn't call anyone. They all just went home that night. Someone from one of their jobs overheard him like saying something about rocks. He then went to the Westminster police and that's how they got their ping on who did it. I have like such a blur from court. When they called me up to the stand, it was really nerve-wracking, it was horrible. The kid who threw the rock, he got life. The other 2 got less, like 40 years. I still like have to work on how I feel about them. What was fun about this, I will never understand. It was just hell for like months after that. I just like couldn't like understand. I was like mad, I was angry. I couldn't be alone for a while. Like I didn't sleep in my own room for like 6 months probably after that. I slept in my parents' room. People had to be with me like all the time. And I couldn't drive for a long time. I couldn't drive at night. The thing that's helped me the most is time, maybe. At first, it's hard because you're like, why does the world keep moving when this happened? Like the world has to stop. But then you have to realize that like it's kind of just how it works. Talking about her helps me, or people wanting to hear about who she was helps. Being in nature helps. Like, listening to music helps. I'm still trying to figure out what helps. I want people to remember her not for her death. She was such a joyful, confident person. I want people to remember her for like her laugh and how silly she was. She truly was like one of a kind human being.
I am seen. Are you?